The prophecy of John of Jerusalem, discovered in a monastery near Moscow by a mysterious Professor Galvieski, mysterious because nothing can be found about him. This visionary prophecy describes the present times with fascinating accuracy. Published in 1994 by the Jean-Claude Lattès editions in Paris, this little book, which disappeared from the shelves very quickly, was supposedly written in the year 1099 by Jean de Jérusalem or Jean de Vézelay, one of the founders of the Order of the Templars, supposedly again. This first part of the prophecy is a grim prediction for the year, the period of 2000, the year that 1000 that comes after the year 1000. But in recent years, it was enough to listen to the news to realize that everything these 30 paragraphs described has already happened, particularly in the last 5 years, the period of 2017-2022. All the big themes that we have witnessed are there: AIDS, COVID, satanic societies, children's slavery, sexual deviations, pornography, organ sales, puppet governments, massive immigration, the internet, wars, mind control, terrestrial transformations, etc., etc. Because the first part of this prophecy has already happened, it should warm our hearts for the second, much shorter, but powerful and super positive. So stay tuned until the end. So we are not completely at the end of the tunnel, but in 2023, we will begin to see the first glimmers of hope that these last 10 paragraphs, beginning with when it will be the fall of the year 1000, which comes after the year 1000, which announces a new era full of awareness and hope. The full prophecy that follows is my own translation. In details, what does it reveal? This is what we're going to find out here today. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, gold will be in the blood. Who looks at the stars will count money. Who will enter the temple will meet merchants. Sovereigns will be money changers and loan sharks. The sword will defend the snake, but the fire will incubate. Each city will be Sodom and Gomorrah, and the children's children will become a fiery cloud. They will raise the old banners. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, man will have populated the heavens and the earth and the seas with its creatures. He will ordain, he will want the powers of God, he will know no limits, but everything will turn around. He will stagger like a drunken king, he will gallop like a blind knight, and with many spurs will push his mount into the forest. Yet at the end of the road will only be the abyss. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, in all points of the earth will rise Babel towers. This will be Rome and Byzantium. The fields will be empty. The only law will be of oneself and one's gang, but the barbarians will be in town. They will no longer be bread for all. And the games won't suffice anymore. Then the people without a future will light huge fires. When will come the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, hunger will tighten the belly of so many men, and cold will turn so many hands blue that they will want to see another world. And the merchants of illusions will come who will offer poison, but it will destroy the bodies and rot the souls. And those who will have mixed poison to their blood will be as wild animals caught in a trap. And they will kill and rape and ransom and steal, and life will become an everyday apocalypse. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, all will seek pleasure in every way they can. Man will divorce his wife as many times as he will marry. and woman will take lost hollow paths, taking anyone she pleases, giving birth to children without sharing the name of the father. But no master will guide the child, and each one will be alone among others. Tradition will be lost, the law will be forgotten, as if the Annunciation had never happened, and man will become wild again. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, the father will take his pleasure with his daughter, the man with the man, the woman with the woman, the old with the pubescent child, and it will be visible to all, but the blood will become soiled. Evil will spread from bed to bed. The body will host all the putrefactions of the earth. Faces will be eaten away, limbs will become emaciated. Love will be a high threat to those who only know each other in the flesh. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, whoever speaks of oath and law will not be heard. Whoever practices faith in Christ will lose his voice in the desert, but everywhere the mighty waters of the infidels' religions will spread. False messiahs will gather the blinded men, and the infidel will be armed as never before. He will speak of justice and rights, and his faith will be burning and cutting. He will take revenge on the crusade. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, the sound of death given will roll like storm on earth. The barbarians will be mixed with the soldiers of the last legions. The infidels will live in the heart of the holy cities. Everyone will be in turn barbaric, infidel, and wild. There will be neither order nor rule. Hatred will spread like flames in a dry forest. The barbarians will massacre soldiers. The infidels will slay the believers. Savagery will be in each and every one, and cities will perish. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, thousands of men will judge each other according to their blood and their faith. No one will listen to the aching hearts of the children. They will be found like baby birds, and no one will know how to protect them from the hands stiffened by the gauntlet. Hatred will flood the lands, thought to be at peace, and no one will be spared, neither the old nor the wounded. The house will be destroyed or stolen. One will take the place of the other, and all will close their eyes to not see the women being raped. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, everyone will know what is in all places of the earth. One will see children whose bones pierce their skin, and the one whose eyes are covered with flies, and the one who is haunted like a rat. But the man who sees will turn his eyes away, for he will care only about himself. This one will give as alms a handful of grains while he sleeps on full bags of gold. And that which he will give with one hand, he will take with the other. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, man will make a merchandise of everything. Everything will have its price, the trees, the water, the animal. Nothing anymore will really be given, and everything will be sold. And then man will no longer be more than the weight of his own flesh. His body will be bartered like a piece of meat. One will take his eyes and heart. Nothing will be sacred, neither his life nor his soul. One will fight over his skin and blood like a carrion to be cut up. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, man will have changed the face of the earth. He will declare himself the master and ruler of forests and herds. He will have harrowed the ground and sky and dug a furrow into the rivers and the seas. But the earth will be naked and fetid. The air will start burning and the water will be foul. Life will fade as man depletes the world's wealth, and in his hatred of himself, he will be as alone as a wolf. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, the child too will be sold. Some will use him for a fortnight to enjoy his new skin. Others will treat him as a servile animal. The child's sacred weakness and mystery will be forgotten. He will be like a foal that is being trained, like a lamb being bled and slaughtered, and man will be nothing but barbarism. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, the eyes and minds of men will be prisoners. They will be drunk and not know it. They will take images and reflections to be the truth of the world. It will be made of them what is made of a sheep, and the predators will come. The raptors will join them into herds to better lead them to the abyss and set them against each other. They will be flayed to get their wool and their skin, and man, if he survives, will be stripped of his soul. When will come the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, rulers without belief will reign. They will order innocent and passive human crowds. They will hide their faces and keep their names secret, and their fortified castles will be lost in the forests. But they will decide the fate of everything and all. No one will take part in the meetings of their order. Everyone will be a true slave, believing to be free and knighted. Will rise only those of wild cities and heretical faith, but they will be the first to be conquered and burnt alive. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, men will be in such great numbers on so many lands that they will look like an anthill in which a stick has been pressed. They will swarm and death will crush them under its heels like distraught animals. Large movements will push them from one country to another. Brown skins will mingle with white skins. The faith of Christ with that of the infidel. Some will preach a sworn peace, but everywhere will be the war of enemy tribes. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, men will want to cross all boundaries. The mother will have the gray hair of an old woman. The way of nature will be abandoned, and families will be like separated grains that nothing can unite. This will therefore be another world. Each will err without any bond like a runaway horse, going in all directions without a guide. Woe to the knight who rides his mount. He will be without a stirrup and fall into the ditch. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, men will no longer rely on God's law, but will want to guide their life as a horse. They will want to choose their children in the womb of their women and will kill those they do not like. But what will man become who believes himself to be God? The mighty will seize the best lands and the most beautiful women. The poor and the weak will be livestock. Each house will become a dungeon. Fear will reside in each heart like poison. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, a black and secret order will have risen. Its law will be hatred and its weapon poison. It will want always more gold and expand its rule over the whole earth, and its servants will be linked together by a kiss of blood. Righteous men and the weak will suffer its rule. The mighty will put themselves at its service. The only law will be the one it dictates from the shadows. It will sell poison even in churches, and the world will walk with its scorpion under its heel. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, many men will sit idly, arms crossed, or go without knowing where, their eyes empty, because they won't have any more a forge to beat the metal and any fields to cultivate. They will be like a seed that cannot take root. Stray, poor, humiliated and desperate, the youngest and the oldest, often without a home, will only have war for salvation, and they will fight themselves first and will hate their lives. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, diseases of the water, the sky, and the earth will hit man and threaten him. He will want to revive what he destroyed and protect what remains. He will fear the days to come, but it will be too late. The desert will eat up the earth and the water will become deeper and deeper. It will flow some days carrying everything away like a deluge, and the next day will be mist, and the air will eat away at the bodies of the weakest. When will start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000? In many places the earth will shake and cities will crumble. Everything that will have been built without listening to the wise will be threatened and destroyed. Mud will submerge villages and the ground will open underneath palaces. Because his pride will be his folly, man will obstinately persist. He will not hear the repeated warnings of the earth, but fire will destroy the new Romes. And despite the legions in the accumulated rubbles, the poor and the barbarians will plunder the abandoned riches. When will start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, the sun will burn the earth. The air will no longer be the veil that protects from the fire. It will only be a curtain full of holes. And the burning light will gnaw the sky, the skin, and the eyes. The sea will rise like boiling water. Cities and shores will be buried, and entire continents will disappear. Men will take refuge on the heights, and they will rebuild, already forgetting what happened. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, men will know how to make illusions live. Their senses will be deceived and they will believe they are touching what is not. They will follow paths that only the eyes can see, and the dream will thus become alive. But man will no longer know how to separate what is from what is not. He will get lost in false labyrinths. Those who know how to give rise to mirages will play the naive by deceiving him, and many men will become crawling dogs. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, the animals Noah had embarked on his ark will only be in the hands of men, beasts, transformed according to his will. And who will care about their living suffering? Man will have made of each race what he will have wanted, and he will have destroyed countless of them. What will become of man who will have changed the laws of life, who will have turned living animals into a lump of clay? Will he be God's equal or the child of the devil? When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, it will be necessary to fear for the child of man. Poison and despair will be on the lookout. He will be desired for oneself and not for him or the world. He will be hunted for fun, and sometimes his body will be sold. But even the one who will be protected by his own will be threatened by the death of his spirit. He will live in games and mirages who will guide him, since there won't be any teacher anymore. Nobody will have taught him how to hope and act. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, man will believe himself to be God, even though he will be nothing more than he was at birth. He will hit, always defeated by anger and jealousy, but his arm will be armed with the power he will have seized. Blinded Prometheus, he will have the capacity to destroy everything around him. In his soul, he will remain a dwarf, yet will have the strength of a giant. He will take a huge step forward, but will be clueless as to what path to take. His head will be heavy with knowledge, but he won't know why he lives and dies. Like always, he will be the madman who gesticulates or the child who whines. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, whole countries will fall prey to war beyond the Roman borders and even on the empire's former territory. Men of the same cities will murder each other. Here will be the war between tribes, and there among believers. The Jews and the children of Allah will not stop opposing each other, and the land of Christ will be their battlefield. But the infidels everywhere will want to defend the purity of their faith, and in front of them there will only be doubt and power. Then everywhere death will move forward as the banner of the new times. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, a multitude of men will be excluded from human life. They will have neither rights, nor roof, nor bread. They will be naked and only have their bodies to sell. They will be rejected from the Babel towers of opulence. They will swarm like remorse and a threat. They will occupy entire regions and proliferate. They will listen to the preachings of revenge and they will attack the proud towers. The time will have returned of the barbarian invasions. When we'll start the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, man will have entered the dark labyrinth. He will be afraid, yet will close his eyes because he won't know how to see anymore. He will distrust everything and be in fear of every step, but he will be pushed forward because no stopping will be permitted. Despite the voice of Cassandra being high and strong, he will not hear it because he will always want to possess more and his head will be lost in mirages. Those who are his masters will deceive him and there will only be bad shepherds. So now to the good part. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, men will have finally opened their eyes. They will no longer be locked in their heads and in their cities. They will see and hear from one point of the earth to the other. They will know that what strikes one hurts the other. Men will form like a single large body, each being a tiny part of it, and together they will constitute the heart. Finally, there will be one language that is spoken by all, and this is how the great human will finally be born. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, man will have conquered the sky. He will create stars in the big black sea and sail on his brilliant ship. New Ulysses, companion of the sun for a celestial odyssey. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, men will be able to sink underwater. Their bodies will be new and they will be fish, and some will fly higher than birds as if the stone did not fall. They will communicate with each other. Because their minds will be so wide open, they will collect all the messages and dreams will be shared. And they will live as long as the oldest men, those that the holy books speak about. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, man will know the spirit of all things, the stone and water, the animal's body, the look of another. He will have unlocked the secrets possessed by the ancient gods and will push door after door in the labyrinth of this new life. He will create with the power and the gushing of a spring. He will teach a knowledge to a multitude of men, and the children will know the earth and the sky more than anyone before them. And the human body will be expanded and skilled, and his spirit will have enveloped and owned all things. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, man will no longer be the only sovereign because woman will grab the scepter. She will be the great teacher of the times to come. And what she will think, she will impose upon men. She will be the mother of the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000. She will spread the warm softness of the mother after the days of the devil. She will be the beauty after the ugliness of barbarian times. The year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will turn into an era of light. We shall love and share. We shall dream and give birth to dreams. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, man will experience a second birth. Spirit will grab the masses who will commune in brotherhood. This will mark the end of the barbarian times. It will be time for a renewal of faith. After the dark days of the beginning of the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000, Happy days will open. Man will find his way to men, and earth will be in order. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, pathways will go from one end of the earth to another and to the sky on the other side. The forests will be dense again, and the deserts will have been irrigated. The waters will be again pure. The earth will be like a garden. Man will watch over all living things. He will purify what he stained. He will feel the entire earth to be his home, and he will be wise, thinking of tomorrows. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, we shall know everything there is to know about the world and our body. We shall heal diseases before they appear. Each one will be a healer of oneself and others. It will be understood that we must help to maintain peace. And man, after a time of being shut down and greedy, will open his heart. He will also open his purse to the poor. He will feel he is a knight of human order and begin a new time. When the year 1000 that comes after the year 1000 will be in full bloom, man will have learned to give and share. The bitter days of solitude will be buried. He will believe again in spirit, but this will come after wars and fires. It will rise from the blackened rubbles of the Babel towers, and it will have taken an iron grip to order chaos. And for man will know that all human beings are light bearers and creatures to be respected. He will have built new cities in the sky, on earth, and on the sea. He will have the memory of what was, and he will know how to read what will be. Because in his lifetime he will have lived several lives, no more afraid will he be of his own death. And light, he will know, will never be extinguished again. Remember, as always, choose your battles, walk in beauty. Thank you for watching. Until next time.